Hello everyone, good evening. So here with you this afternoon is Nancy, and I'll be your host for today. So for the event, which is a Google that you use to build beautiful and natively applications for mobile, for web, all from a single code base. So once again, you're welcome, and you all have an awesome session. You're welcome once again. And we'll be moving on to view the introductory video for the event. So stay tuned as we bring that on.
source of the app. Ultimately, we were able to build an app and feels at home on three form. Welcome to Flutter Engage. Is a key milestone with the launch of Flutter 2. The 2 is that we've broadened Flutter from a mobile portable framework, unleashing your apps to run on a wide different platforms with little or no change. Flutter 2 as a free upgrade for your app. With app can target 4 additional platforms: macOS, Linux, and the web. Friends at G Skinner to create a demo app that spans platforms. We decided to build a scrapbooking app called. So I'd like to invite you to visit flutter.gskinner.com. More info, source code, and links to the app. We were able to build an app that runs great and feels at home on factors, 5 OSs, and the web. Over 95% of our code. Flutter is used outside Google. Over 1,000 engineers are using Dart and Flutter to develop apps today. One of the Google using Flutter is Google Pay.
We decided everything. We ended up with 35% smaller code, 1 million lines compared to 1.7 million lines, and at the same time, by 90% on a per engineer basis. Rewrite was done. We also found that our engineers were 20% in terms of feature implemented because of the rewrite. We were able to take the IO engineers and get 50% engineering efficiency because they were all working on the same thing.
They come in so many different shapes and sizes, and one of the latest foldable phones. One great example of this form factor is Duo from Microsoft.
Today we're collaborating with Google and bringing foldable support to Flutter. Enable Flutter apps to take advantage of these new opportunities with the Duo, but also enable it on other devices from manufacturers like Samsung and others.
So let's talk about the web, the stable milestone.
Now, the web has many strengths: equity and reach. So if you're building a Flutter app, you use outside of app stores. And with the power of users across operating systems or device types could be directed to one of your app, from links that are shared by friends, from an email, from anywhere.
I'll show you one example of the kind of app that shines really well. iRobot is the company behind the popular Roomba, but they also have coding robots that empower the next. iRobot built their app with Flutter and launching the web version of their experience. So here, running in the browser, using the same code as their tablet app. Today, we're delighted to announce that we're desktop to the stable channel of Flutter, enabled with an early. This release lets you produce standalone executables for each OS, Linux, and Windows. On Linux, has been a fantastic partner.
We not only enable, we also work with the Flutter team to publish as a snap in the Snap Store, the App Store for Linux. In the Flutter SDK as a snap, we've made it very easy and set up your development environment to build mobile, web, with Flutter on Ubuntu. Flutter is the default for desktop and mobile apps created by Canonical.
There are even more screens out there beyond the system that you might have on your phone or your PC. Toyota Flutter right into the heart of their core product.
They were excited to announce that Toyota is partnering with Flutter to bring a digital experience to vehicles by building infotainment by Flutter. We see working with open source software as a towards our in-vehicle user experiences, and we look forward to playing the open source Flutter community.
Let's level deeper and talk about Dart.
Very happy to tell you that we have shipped null safety for Dart. So now the type system helps you eliminate null reference bugs. This is the biggest change to Dart since we added sound static types. in Dart 2. Added a slew of features like smarter flow analysis, late variables, and required named parameters, so that your Dart code isn't just safe, but easy to write. Dart gives you more than most other languages with non-nullable types do. Null safety in Dart is sound. That means that when your program is fully migrated, the type system guarantees, like a mathematical proof, that no non-nullable expression can ever evaluate to null. A fast language is no use if you can't productively write code in it. So next, Kenzie's going to talk about developer tools.
Now I know what you're thinking. Framework improvements are great and bring all sorts of new and improved functionality to you, but usually they also come with some breaking changes to your code. Well, fear not, because what we've also done as part of Flutter 2 is created a tool called Flutter Fix. This is a sample app that hasn't been updated in a couple years. Now that I updated to Flutter 2, there are now some errors to address. APIs. So let's click on one of these warnings and see how we can solve the problem. I can see the deprecated member here, as well as the quick. And the quick fix option allows me to automatically migrate to the new API. So now I can see my code, and the warnings have gone away.
And an example of the unique flexibility of Flutter, built with Flutter and integrated into whatever tool you're running. As of right now, there are over 15,000 packages from big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Adobe, Alibaba, eBay, and Square. We're also today update to our Flutter plugins for several core Firebase services: application, Cloud Firestore, Cloud Function, Cloud Storage, and Crashlytics. We've to support sound null safety. But we're releasing today.
We're excited to announce for the Google Mobile Ads SDK for Flutter. New plugin that provides inline banner and native ads in existing overlay formats. We've been piloting with some of our early customers in a private beta program. Is one of them.
We've had amazing metrics performance since we made the change. We saw an 350 conversions with a 43% increase on CTR and 13% our eCPM.
The Google Mobile Ads SDK is available today for you to download from pub.dev.
Flutter is the first UI platform that is designed and unique to Flutter. Beautiful, native, fast experiences. 8 pixels on the screen.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed features that comes with the Flutter upgraded form from the first Flutter to the second one. And the one that actually interests from all of it is the Flutter fix. I think it's one that was mentioned. And what it does is of code breaks. We all know that if that isn't the some kind of change or upgrade format, that I don't know what else could be. So again, please try and share across our social media platforms. We all have the hashtag. You can see it on the comment section. The hashtags, please use the hashtags and drop your comments on WhatsApp, on all your platforms that you own. Search for GDG Akoko. And at the end of it all today, that's the most engaged, the most engagement across the last. So try and share your experience, try and engage whoever is on. One of the advantages, one of the reasons why we have this event, so other people can gain, so other people can learn from you. So engage your speakers. Do not let them rest. Bombard them with questions. Talk to them. Whatever it is that you don't understand, try and ask them. So moving on, we're bringing up the next speaker for today. We have some speakers on ground. We're bringing up the next person, which is Taiwo. So Taiwo, you are on, please.
Yeah, good day, everyone. So it's nice having you guys here, and then it's awesome to be around you guys and seeing Flutter engaged. And then most people were asking what is Flutter and the likes, and we'll be hearing many things about Flutter. So Flutter is Google UI toolkit for mobile development, and then we all have release versions every year or 2 years on the new versions of Flutter. So today's program is all about Flutter engaged. Flutter Engage, which came up on March 3rd, whereby Google introduced the latest version of Flutter, and then they will present the new features that we have in Flutter 2.0. So you can just go along with me, and then while we go with this section, you just drop your questions on the group chat, and then you can tweet with the handles provided on our Twitter pages. You share your experience as we move on. So let's go along with the new features we have. So before we continue, just say a little introduction to Flutter. You might ask, what is Flutter? So Flutter is Google's UI toolkit for building beautiful, natively compiled applications for mobile, web, desktop. And the beautiful part of it is from a single code base. That is the beauty of Flutter. It's from what? A single code base, whereby we build natively compiled applications for mobile and desktop. So that is the beauty of Flutter. So why I'm just doing this little introduction is some people might be here, they don't know about Flutter. So just do a little intro on that. And then I said it's a single code base that you do not need to write your app entirely, where you want to extend to other platforms. So the beauty of Flutter is this, why we call it cross-platform. You can develop in the mobile aspect, and you change your platform to either web or desktop with a single code base. I hope you understand that. A single code base. So once you've written your code, and instead of you looking for an Swift expert or iOS expert to start writing another code in iOS, just your Flutter will give you that grace to write all that same code in just one code base. So it will just be displayed on the mobile version, the web version, and the native and the desktop version. So I said Flutter achieved this by providing a means of accessing platforms API. So you can access platform APIs like your camera, your microphone, regardless of the platform the user is on. So once you are on your web, then you can see access those your microphones, then your cameras and the likes like that. So Flutter is built on that programming language. So Flutter is what built on that programming language. So why do we use Flutter? Now, number one here is single code base. Single what? Single code base. So once we've added single code base, from the little intro video we watched the other time, we can see that the new introduction of Flutter has become 6 platforms now. 6 platforms. Your mobile, your web, your Microsoft, which is your desktop applications, and it has gone to an extent whereby it's now in embedded systems with a single code base. So that is the beauty of Flutter. I said out of the box widget, out of the box widget, ease of creating UIs. So we've seen the difficulties of creating UIs, a perfected constructed UIs. that will suit your own UI taste. So most people might be working on Android, which is Java. Then you'll have seen the difficulties in creating a UI. So what with Flutter, it gives you the ease and the out of the box widgets for you to create that. So we have native performance. Now our native performance. Now when you run your Flutter applications, the performance is very high. While you compile it very high, it renders it at 60 FPS for you at a very high speed. It will compile it and it will run it instantly. So most of us, I don't know, those are familiar with mobile development. You can either use your simulator, which is your emulator on your PCs, or you use your physical device. So once you connect your physical device to your system and you build your applications, it runs instantly on that mobile device. So that is the power of Flutter. We have fast development, which is auto reload. When you use your Control X, it compiles your code instantly and it builds it again. That is auto reload, the power of Flutter. So we have great integrations with backend services. We can use different backend services integrated in your Flutter. You can use the server side and you can use the serverless side, which is like your Firebase for your Flutter. And then that is easy to adopt. That is a programming language by Google. It's what's easy to adopt. Just take your Dart, learn it for a few weeks, and then you are good to go with Flutter. So that is the power of Flutter. So, and rapidly growing rate of adoption. Now you see that every organization that has been existent before with the mobile development, they are incorporating Flutter into their systems. They are building their systems afresh with what? With Flutter. So it's giving waves for Flutter and then it's growing daily. And then Google is investing more in Flutter and it has great documentations and tutorials. Now you can search on flutter.dev. Once you search on flutter.dev, you will see the great documentations and tutorials. Majorly other languages, you might not really see a good documentation, but Flutter gives you a great documentation that you can follow along. And we have a great community for Flutter. Great community. When I mean great community, once you go to your Twitter, there's a community for Twitter. And even presently, we are in a community which is what? GDG Akoko. This is what GDG Akoko. So it's a platform whereby we can all learn, we share experiences and the like. So it's a community whereby it helps in growing. So that is Flutter for you. So now, what is new in Flutter 2.0? What's new in Flutter 2.0? So we'll be going with the new features in Flutter 2.0. Some are already familiar with Flutter 1.0, which has came out since, and then different versions were coming up, different release. It gets to the master stage, it gets to your beta stage, it gets to the stable stage. So presently we have Flutter 2.0, which has some new features that is interesting and it helps for people who are in the development world to fast track their space. So let's go with on the introduction of Flutter 2.0, March 3rd. That was where Google did the introduction to Flutter 2.0, and they stated that we have we have broadened Flutter from a mobile framework to a portable framework, unleashing your app to run on a wide variety of different platforms with little or no change. And that is power of Flutter. With a single code base, you can work on multiple what platforms, ranging from your mobile, your iOS, your web, your desktop, and even embedded system. So that is the power of Flutter, which helps us from a good framework. So now, the first change that was talked about was support for 6 platforms. Now that is awesome. Support for what? 6 platforms. 6 platforms with a single code base. So you can imagine we have a system to develop, and then we finish developing it on the mobile application. Then after developing it, and we have a full system, Then we are asked to, oh, we need an iOS version of this Android. Now, we have to start looking for iOS developers. Those are good with Swift. So once you start looking for those that are good with Swift, that's another budget on its own. From there, you complete it, and we are told that we need to get the desktop application of that same system. Wow, that is another stress. Then you start looking for another developer that will carry out the desktop applications ranging from the Mac OS, the Linux, and Windows. So we can see that that is a whole lot for Flutter to come into place and then give us a single code base for 6 platforms. I'm hammering on the 6 platforms, which is your web, your mobile, your desktop, ranging from your Linux, your Windows, your Mac OS, and even embedded systems. So in the release, the web version, the web was in beta stage before, but now is in a stable version. And stable version really means that it's in a stable release. We can all take your Flutter with Flutter 2.0. You all have a stable version where you can work with. So web is in a stable version. Now let's go to the desktop aspect of it. Windows also is in a stable channel under early release flag. Now the Windows aspect, and with the help of Microsoft, they are putting more into Flutter, which makes it to be in a stable channel version. That you can just go with your Flutter 2.0. You don't need to start tweaking your code. You don't need to start tweaking your code left and right. Just go to your Flutter 2.0, then your web, your desktop, everything is into place. So at the end of this session, we do a little display on the cross-platform of Flutter. So you see your Flutter in your Android, in your iOS, in your Mac OS, and in your web. So we do that. So another thing is Microsoft and Linux now they are pushing more as Flutter partners. Now Flutter partners, Microsoft and Linux. Now Linux is getting to a stage whereby it's using Flutter UI as the number one UI tool for development. That is Linux, Konica. Konica are the ones in charge of Linux, of Ubuntu. So Flutter is going to a whole lot of big space. So now, this is our iOS, our Android. We can see our web, our Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and embedded system. And that is the beauty of Flutter. With a single code base. A single code base. That is the beauty of Flutter. So have it at the back of your mind. For those who've not started with Flutter, this is an opportunity for you to start with Flutter, and then you will surely enjoy it because Flutter is going to another level that you all should go along with. So null safety confirmation. Now, null safety confirmations. Like before we have problems as developers whereby null safety, we have issues with null safety. Big issues with null safety. Whereby you write your code at the compilation stage, you start having different errors. It's not null and the like. So with null safety confirmation, it has given us the edge that our app will be non-nullable. Our app will be non-nullable. So we will not be having the errors of why compilations, it will be telling us null safety issues. So that is what already rectified. Because some might be saying, oh, they don't really get along with that null safety. For those that are not in the Flutter world, but those as programmers, you'll be able to understand the null safety. So it helps a lot and it makes our code more optimized and more faster. So Google Mobile Ads. Now Google Mobile Ads is now in the beta stage. Now this is a brand new plugin that provides inline banner. for those that want to carry out ads, before while you carry out ads on your mobile development, you have to use Firebase mob ads, which does not go in line with the UI. We have different shit in UI. It does not balance with your screens, with your responsiveness of the screens, and the like. So with the new version of Flutter 2.0, we now have a plugin for mobile ads, Google mobile ads. We have a plugin. You just insert the plugin in your code, then you start working with it. So it makes our code more beautiful, and then we stop having this issue of mobile ads not being compatible with the native applications. So that is the work of Google Mobile Ads to better, is now in the better stage. Your ad manager or whereby you can publish options on Google, and then you start making your little revenues from Flutter. So this is the mobile ad SDK Flutter. Now we can see the overlay banner. Now we can see the inline banner, and we can see the interstitial banner. We can see the rewarded banner. So we can see the native balance, native SDK for your Flutter. So it goes in line with your UI. You don't have issues with your UI. So your UI is intact, and then the SDKs are intact for you to work with. If it's overlay banner you want, just insert it. Your work is going fine. So that is the mobile SDK for Flutter, which came out with the Flutter 2.0. So we have new iOS features. So Flutter is going around the whole platforms. Now we have 6 platforms now. Flutter is going around the whole platforms, whereby it's working on each of the platforms, not neglecting one. So we can say, oh, more focus on Android. No, we have focus are being shifted to your iOS, your web, your desktop, and the likes. So now for this new iOS feature, a Cupertino search test feed. Now, when we look at Cupertino search test feeds for mobile developers, when we try to search for a particular thing, it's an issue that you need to start searching, try to get the ID, try to fix everything online. But now with this just widget, Cupertino search test feed, once you just type in this widget, it brings out this image directly for you. That is wonderful. It brings out what? This image directly for you. You'll be able to work with your search. You type in your search, you make it align with what you're looking for. Then can't you see this is a beautiful search test feed for iOS that you can work with. So iOS is what is intact with same code base. Once we use the same code base, then we are all getting the same outcomes across all the devices, across all the platforms. So that is the power of Flutter, which is the Cupertino search test feed, which is the iOS search bar UI. It's a cool UI for your iOS. Now, another feature is the Cupertino form section. The Cupertino form section, the Cupertino form row, the Cupertino text form field row widget, which makes it easier to produce validated form fields with iOS section visual aesthetics. Now, if I go to the next slide, you will see a cool form UI with iOS. Now, we can see this cool form UI with iOS. So exactly once you are writing your single code base, the single code base, once you run on your iOS, it gives the same feel of an iOS device. The same what? The same feel of an iOS device. It gives you the validation. Your UI is intact. UI goes along with the same. So it gives us new UI. That is the power of Flutter, which we are seeing today. And then we cannot just check all the features today. We cannot go in depth with our code sections. We can't do code sections today. We just want to engage ourselves with the new features in Flutter 2.0. So at the end of this section, we will see the practical view of this that we are talking about since. So we have new widgets, which is called autocomplete and scaffold messenger. We have issues with autocomplete in Flutter development, which is you're trying to search for a book. Now you know the title of the book. You are trying to search for it. Now, for example, the name of the book is Flutter. So once you type in F10, it gives an autocomplete for you. It gives you different options whereby you can choose that, oh, this is Flutter I want to search for. So that feature is what we have here. So autocomplete feature. So once you type FLU, you will see the autocomplete likable complete words that you're looking for. So that is the power of autocomplete. And scaffold messenger. Scaffold messenger, when you're trying to use your snack bar, when you're trying to use your snack bar in your scaffold, before this version, the snack bar does not balance with your screens. Once you try to change your scaffold, so it does not balance with it. So with this scaffold messenger and then autocomplete, it gives our UI a balanced UI. So once you use your autocomplete and your scaffold messenger, it gives a balanced UI. So we can see from this, now you try to type in a text, then you can see the autocomplete there. So it's working fine. You can see autocomplete. So whatever you're working on, it helps you to go fast with it. So this is just a widget. Instead of you start hard coding it from the beginning, you just use the widget, then you have a complete work. If you are fetching from an API for your likable words, then this helps you to what? To carry out the work very faster and ease. So it saves you the stress of you going and searching one aspect to the other. So the autocomplete works perfectly fine. So this is the scaffold message I was talking about. Now, if you look at the snack bar, once you click on get snack bar, you see I can fly. Immediately we change the scaffold, it fits in directly with the screen, with the UI that we are working with. It fits in what directly. But before this Flutter 2.0, we have this issue of fitting screens with our snack bars. But with this, we can see that our screens are fitted. So we are using different screens. It works along fine with it. And to the very interesting part of it, now Flutter for embedded devices. Flutter for what? Embedded devices. So this is a boost to the Flutter community. It's awesome boost to the Flutter community, whereby Toyota is partnering with Flutter to have an next generation vehicle infotainment system, which is powered by Flutter. So for our next generation of Toyota vehicles, Toyota cars, Flutter will be integrated in it. So that is the beauty of Flutter. So we can also see that Flutter is going to another level entirely, towards another level entirely. So with these new features, now it gives us the room to start going into Flutter. You start checking for different features. Carry it out. Just after today's program, you can just go home, go with your Flutter. If you don't understand Flutter before, they have a good documentation. Go to flutter.dev. Once you get to flutter.dev, stated steps for you to carry out your Flutter applications. To start creating your Flutter project, how to download your Flutter, how to download the code editors that you're going to use for your Flutter, and how to start integrating the plugins that you need for your Flutter. So you can try out the Flutter web. Once you try the Flutter web, you run your code, you see the display on the web browsers. Once you try that, you see the features in it. Then you can try that for your desktop applications as well. If you are using your Mac OS, You run it on your Mac OS, you will see the view on it and your Linux as well. Like you're using Ubuntu, you can run it, you see the feature on it. So this is an eye opener for us to go into Flutter. So imagine you can start Flutter now. In the next few years to come, then Flutter is going to another phase entirely that you don't need to miss it out. So this is a perfect way for us to start Flutter. So this might still be sounding strange to people who don't really understand Flutter well, but this is Flutter Engage. We are not having any code section. Now we can start coding and then seeing those features we are talking about. So remember our subsequent classes, then we can start going into that and then we see the practical aspect of Flutter. So with Flutter 2.0, web is in a stable version, your Windows is in stable version, your Mac OS in a stable version, your Linux is a stable version for desktop, and we have Flutter for embedded devices. Flutter for what? Embedded devices. So you can decide you want to go into this line, then you start doing some researches on that, which we help in other industries. But Toyota is coming out to start as a face for partnering with Flutter. So with that, we'll see where Flutter is going. So these are just the few features that I would love to go with us today that will propel us to go and learn more on Flutter and see the beautiful the beautiful platform ability whereby you run a single code base, it will display in your mobile, your iOS, your web, your desktop applications. So that is the beauty of Flutter. So for those who don't really know what Flutter code looks like, so this is a perfect snippet of Flutter code. Now, if you can look at it now, we have a container, we have a text inside that container. So everything about Flutter is what we get. Everything about Flutter is what we get. So this container is a widget. This text is also a widget that you work with. So everything, when you hear people say Flutter is all about widgets. So this is a perfect scenario. This is an hello world test, hello test. The test is hello. You can see the styling. For those familiar with CSS, you can see this follows the same concept of styling in CSS, which is for web, your text style, your font size, your color, your font weight, and you can see the container, which has a color of red. That's some padding. So this is a perfect snip code of Flutter. Sorry, yeah, this is a perfect snip code of Flutter. So thank you for this section. For more information, you can check flutter.dev. This is a perfect documentation for you to start with your Flutter journey. It's a good community. You can go to Twitter, you will see the Flutter community. You can go to YouTube, start seeing different materials for you to work with. So these are just the little features in the Flutter 2.0 that you need to work with. So thank you very much, and bye for now. Hand over to Nancy to carry on from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Super awesome session. I mean, this was really wonderful, and I gained a whole lot from it. I have some things I want to point out from that session, but before I reiterate on all of that, I want us to bring in the next speaker since he wants to give us more information, a practical explanation of what, since he wants to give us a practical explanation of what Taiwo just taught us. So I'm bringing up the next speaker now. Chukwebuka, let's have him now, please.
Hello, good day, everyone. I'm Ona Chukwebuka from GDG Enugu, and honestly, I must say I'm very glad to be here with you guys today. And okay, Taiwo has done a very good job introducing us to Flutter, showing us the new features contained in Flutter 2.0. And yeah, he has said quite a lot, though I might go further to expand on them. But being someone that has a background in native development, previously I used to develop applications with Java and Kotlin, yeah, native development. I must say and I've been working with Flutter for quite some months now, and I must say it's been a very wonderful experience. The speed of working with Flutter, the speed of development, and a lot of other things. Well, not to take much of our time, I would like to show you guys, quickly show you guys an application I worked on, yeah, and I'm going to compile it for the different operating systems. Okay, in this case, I think I'll run that single application on iOS, yeah, iPhones, Android, Mac OS, then possibly the web. So I'll be switching to, let me share my screen in a bit, give me some time, bear with me. All right, can you see my screen? All right, cool. All right, so I believe you can see my screen now. Well, this is just a project management application that I'm currently working on with Flutter. And I think the project to some extent is responsive, so I'll be able to run it on various platforms. So we see how Flutter operates in the various platforms. So let's go on now. Right, so there's the application Blue 48. So I'm going to launch it on my iOS emulator. Right, so this is the application running on iOS. You can see the way it looks. It was built from start to finish using Flutter. And this is the way it looks on iOS, on the iPhones. And as you can see, you can see the way the functionalities are working. Right, we have fingerprint functionalities and few other things here. And this is working perfectly fine on iOS operating system. Now, if we switch over to Android here, I also have my Android emulator running. So let's move to Android. Okay, well, I think let me close my iOS simulator to make things faster. Okay, it's up already. Let's go. All right, so as you can see, exactly the same way the application loaded up and the iOS variant, it's also loading up exactly the same way without making any single change to my code at all. So as you can see, my code base, I have my code base at the back here, and I just wrote my application using Flutter only once. And for that once that I wrote it, I was able to run it on Android and iOS successfully without having any issue at all. Apart from running the application, I was able to set up some features that are specific to this different operating system alone. For example, I had to implement fingerprint functionality within the app. And now you know that within the Android operating system, a lot of Android devices make use of fingerprints. Then for newer iPhones, you see that a lot of them make use of Face ID. But now, notwithstanding the platform, whether it's Android or iOS, I was able to implement those functionalities. Like here, you can see now it's asking for fingerprints here on the Android device. And if I go to my iOS device, let me enable Face ID. right? And you can see I can verify my face ID here, right? So that's a very cool thing about Flutter. It allows you to, let me close up my devices. It allows you to write your application, whatever project that you have. It allows you to write those projects only once and run it on that single, on the different platform without having any issue at all. So that's one of the cool features of Flutter. So I think quickly I'll run through web. I'll show you the application running on web. Then I will show you on Mac OS running as a desktop app. So let's go on. Right. So over here, as you can see here, I have Chrome. If I go to this place, you can see the list of devices which I have attached to my Android Studio. So if I open it, you can see web, you can see Mac OS. So let's start with Mac OS first, right? So let's compile the application. So it will take some time to compile. So while it's compiling, I will show you how to enable Flutter on whatever I will show you how to enable either desktop or web functionalities in your Flutter application. So how do we do that? So if you want to enable web functionalities on your Flutter project, all you just have to do is that you go to your terminal, all right? So when you go to your terminal, you make sure that you are in the project folder. Like in this case, I'm in below 48 project. So you make sure that you are in the project folder below 48 or whatever project you're working on. Then you write this Flutter config, then enable, then you now write the name of whatever platform you want to enable it on. So let's say Mac OS desktop. So this is the command we use to enable Flutter on the Mac OS platform. So as you can see, imagine you're working on an application, and while working on the application, you are now, the person that you are building the application for now tells you that, okay, I need my application to run on this particular platform. All you just need to do is that you go to your terminal and write Flutter config and enable that particular platform where you want your project to run on. So as you can see, even though this is a desktop app, you can see that it's displaying almost exactly the same way it's displayed while we are using it on our mobile devices. So this is what it looks like. All right, and as you can see, it's running on Mac OS here. I can even put it in full screen mode, so we'll see what it looks like. So this is how Flutter runs on Mac OS. Now, finally, I will show you for web. Right. So Mac OS here, I'll switch to web, and let's go. So let's run it. Right. So as I was saying previously on enabling Flutter on the different platforms. So as you can see, I just wrote Flutter config enable Mac OS desktop. Then if I finish writing that, I press enter. Then as you can see, setting enable Mac OS value to true. So with that, it has enabled Mac OS. It has enabled the Flutter projects to be able to run on Mac OS. All right. So in the same way, apart from Mac OS, you can now have other platforms. So you can have Flutter config enable. You have enable web, or you can do enable Windows desktop. Right. So apart from enable Windows desktop, you can do enable Linux desktop. Right. So as you can see with this, you'll be able to enable Flutter to run on different platforms without having any issue at all. So I think okay, finally, you can also enable web by just writing Flutter config enable web. Right. So that's the way we do it. Right now, let's go and watch our application open up in Chrome. As you can see, it's the application is now running on my Chrome browser. As you can see the address here, login screen. I'm in the login screen now. So it's running on a Chrome browser, for crying out loud. That's to show you how amazing Flutter is. So using Flutter, you can just write your single code base once and allow it to run on these different platforms. So, okay, so finally, before I leave, I'll briefly talk about, some people might want to ask, like there might be certain functionalities that you want to implement for a different platform. Let's say there might be some functionalities, let's say permissions you want to enable for your Flutter application, let's say for iOS alone. So if you look at my project folder here, you can see we have iOS folder. Apart from iOS, now with this iOS folder, any settings that we want to make that applies to the iOS folder, we can go in here and make those settings for our application. So this is for iOS and this for Android. You can see my Android files here. So in here, I can enable those functionalities I want for Android, and this for Mac OS. Remember, I enabled Mac OS here, so I can make different changes for the Mac OS application. So I believe with this, you have seen how amazing and how cool it is to work with Flutter, and I hope you enjoyed it, right? So thanks a lot for listening. I think I'll hand over to Nancy. Nice being here.
Thanks for that great session, Ebuka. Thank you very much. I learned some things from it, and I'm sure that our participants have also learned one or two things. So, moving on, we're moving on to the more participative part of it. So, we'll be having a fireside chat now where we will talk in bits, in bits about the things that you've been taught this evening. So I'll be adding to the stream now, Taiwo. Okay, Taiwo, are you here?
Yes,
Please
I'm
unmute
here. Thank you, Nancy.
your and Ebuka, do we have you here too?
Yeah, of course, I'm here.
All right. Please keep your mic open, Taiwo.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing I would love to know more about is you mentioned something about the web. I mean, the Flutter 2 being giving us a more stable version of web, of Mac, iOS, Linux, and the rest. So now, in
Yes.
reference to the first version of Flutter, where does the stability come in? I mean, what's the difference in stability between the first version and the second version of Flutter? Can you please give me more info on that?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, one
You're welcome.
aspect that's really been a challenge in the web version was the scrolling. Now,
Okay.
your normal web applications, you can scroll easily, whereby using your mouse or your arrow buttons to scroll easily. But the first release version of web, that functionality was horrible, sincerely. So it was not going fine. So, but in this latest version, it has
Okay.
given us the ability to scroll perfectly, like our normal other frameworks, the likes of our other programming languages that we use for web, your Angular, your Vue, and the like. So it gives us that opportunity to scroll easily on any browser, any browser. So that is
Wow.
one of those features that was not there before that is presently here. Do you get? So Ebuka can as well see another feature that he feels that he noticed that he really saw there.
Okay, yeah. Then another thing, I think that was a great one that you pointed out, Taiwo. Previously, the scrolling on Flutter Web was really, really bad. It was laggy and it just had a lot of issues. So, but now I would say that with the release of Flutter 2, that Flutter Web is much more faster. A lot of things run faster. Then they now added, previously Flutter was built like with the idea of more of mobile. So it was built in such a way that you had to navigate applications using your fingers. But with the moving of web and desktop to um, to the stable version, now they have enabled a lot of things. So now you can navigate Flutter from desktop connected with your mouse, your arrow key, and a lot of things. So overall, the experience with Flutter Web is much more Flutter compared to the way it was before.
Oh, well, that's that's awesome. Very, very awesome. So get the difference between the two now. So meaning that a more smoother version, the work one the previous version, right?
Yes, you're right.
Right.
And performance wise,
So from the performance too.
yes, the performance is more better than the former version.
That's great. That's great. It's actually the rate at which technology is going these days. I mean, before you know it, how you just do sit down in your house and for itself house there, and you keep getting the end result from your inside your bedroom. So the pace of technology. Another thing I love to, I mean, not a question actually. One of the things that actually stuck to me while you were talking, while you were taking your session, is that Flutter works working Flutter 2 working across all these platforms, web, Android, Windows, Linux, and the embedded devices. Working across it blew my mind. It was the fact of this worked with just a single code base. I mean, how awesome is that? Just a single
Yeah,
code base. So that is quite awesome. Yes.
yeah, that's one of the best features for me actually, because and I think the ease also of development is another plus for me because, as I said previously, I worked with Java and doing a lot of things with Java is like so stressful. Oh my God, if you have seen someone that's implementing something like a list view in Java, it takes a lot of time to do that. But with Flutter, in just 5-10 minutes, you're done with whatever you want to do. Like it doesn't take time. So Flutter is just awesome.
Imagine
Yeah,
that.
the way Ebuka
Imagine that.
said, I before coming to Flutter, I had little touch of Android, Java. Wow, it's I the
Java
more
is
time I give
fast.
for it, is Java is in another level that it's not easy for you to cope at a very fast pace speed. So for a person that is coming to Flutter for now, I'm telling you, within a year, you should be able to say yes. I can do this little thing in Flutter. You should be able to develop an application in Flutter. But for someone in
Mm-hmm.
Java, for you to grasp the whole features, the lines of codes, they are too bulky for you to start assimilating them. But in Flutter, Flutter gives you the ease. And then what I love about Flutter again is the UI, the user interface. You can
Yeah.
custom it to anything you want, anything you can ever
Wow.
imagine. Anything you can ever imagine, you can custom it to it at a very fast speed. So that's the beauty of Flutter, and then you will see it across all other devices, platforms. That is the beauty of Flutter.
Yeah, it's just that time is not on our side. I would have showed us some animations that we are implemented in some applications using Flutter, and wow, you will just see how amazing Flutter is. In fact, if you're into development with Java and Kotlin, you observe that when they're implementing user interface, there are some particular kind of designs that they will see that they will say, oh, that we can't build this thing using Java because of some kind of limitation in designing with XML. This is XML we use for development in native. But if you're using Flutter, you can build everything from the ground up. If you want your button to be like at the top of the screen, you can arrange it as the flexibility is just much. So you can achieve possibly any, you can implement possibly any UI you can think of making use of Flutter. So I think there's another plus for me. And apart from the fact that it runs so cool on that it takes you less time to develop for these different platforms, or it takes you less time to build your app on Android. Now, the cool thing is that that's your same code. You don't need to go and start getting a iOS developer to come and build the app for you. So just running the application, you can run it on Android, you can run it on iOS. So it's just good. It's just cool.
Okay, that's awesome. That is very, very awesome. And yeah, moving on. There was this other thing that piqued my interest, and it is the choices of the Google mobile list that you have to pick from. I mean, we have the inline banner, interstitial, the and also we have the native. Having all of those choices to pick from, like you don't have to create whichever one you have. Like it's already. I mean, I wanted to explain more on that. Like you have all of these features already. The SDKs, you have them there. So just pick and edit.
Okay, Nancy. So with the banners, so now is being, we call it plugins, and in the Flutter world we call it packages. So they are now all in a package. Now, so in that package, you just install that package in your Flutter application. So once you install it in your Flutter application, they come with custom widgets. They come with what custom widgets,
Okay.
whereby you just call the custom widget in the particular screen you want to insert your banner. So and then now the beautiful aspect of it is that the UI is awesome, whereby you don't need to start tweaking about the native UI part of it, whereby it does not go along with the screen, because that's one of the problems of in the native ads we've had earlier on. Why you insert it in your screens, in different screens that you want, it does not fit well, and you start having issues. But with the help of this better version of mobile ads, you all have it in a custom widget, whereby once you call the widget in your application, in whatever screen you are, it fits in the screen exactly. There was in my section there was a one of the slides I showed whereby I displayed the overlay banner, the inline banner, and other kinds of banner. So you can see that it fits in exactly. You don't need to start writing the code from the scratch again. It gives you the overview of the code, then you just do little tweaking. So that is the benefit of the banner, and it stays with the screen.
All right,
That's from our
yeah,
end. Yeah.
that's cool. And another thing, I think one thing we should have made mention of earlier was that even though Flutter itself or any package you might use provides you with widgets that you can use, there are
Yes.
also a lot of customizations that you can make to that widget. For
Yes.
example, there was a slide that I was showed where he was showing a container, a text, things like that. So you observe that when he had that text, hello, you can see that he specified a font size for that particular text. He specified a color, I think. He specified the width, like how thick the text is going to look. So the cool thing about using packages is that they provide you various properties you can customize in order to look the way you want it to be. So let's say you have a text on the screen, you want that text to be red, you just use the text property and change the color to red. You use the color property to change the color of that text to red. So that's the thing. And then finally, you talked about the different banners, ad banners. Now the thing, there are different types of banners actually. There are some that you might want to display like totally and block the entire screen of the user. There are some ads, some advert that you want to display at the bottom of the screen. You understand? So there are widgets for each of these different advertisements. So any type of ad you want to add to your application, all you just have to do is make use of that widget, put it in your code, then you customize it exactly to your taste, the way you want it to look. So that's just it.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. At least for novices like us, I have gained something. Not even something. I've gained a lot from what you just said. So I have more understanding now of how these widgets work with the Flutter too. So okay, yeah, there was this other one too. The autocomplete core part of it and the scaffold messenger. I think I actually understand the autocomplete core part of it to some extent because you said it's actually complete the functionality of the app, that is the Flutter app. And what it does is to bring a balance to the UI experience. Am I right on that?
Yes, you're right. You're right. The experience.
All right, awesome. Now, the scaffold messenger part of it, I do not really understand that. Could you please give me a better understanding of it?
Okay. Okay. So let me come from this other angle with
Okay.
mostly what we call the scaffold is just our screens. Why
All
those
right.
in the web, I asked where they call it pages, the different pages that your
Yeah.
web views. So now this is it. So with the normal scaffold, whenever you use the snack
Okay.
bar is just for you to display an information. Just want to
All right.
little display of an information. So whenever you use that in the scaffold version, which was from the previous Flutter version, now once immediately you change the scaffold state to another screen, while that action is still on that same screen, it does not give you a right balance. It does not fit in with the new screen that is coming into place.
All right.
So now with the help of the scaffold messenger now, once you have a snack bar which is displaying information on the screen, even though you change your screen, you change the scaffold to another screen entirely, maybe the screen has different UI look from the one you have previously, it still
Okay.
maintain responsive view for that next page that you are now. So it makes it balanced. It does not scatter your view or your screen. You still have a right responsive screen.
Wow.
That is the scaffold messenger.
Okay, I think
Okay.
I will expand on that using a presentation. Nancy, can you please turn on my screen? I think I'm sharing my screen. Right. So that's the screen. Um, if you look at the screen here, you can see at the bottom of the screen, you can see "Hello, I am a snack bar." Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So that's exactly what the snack bar is. Because I know a lot of people might be confused. What is a snack bar? Right. So in simple terms, what he was explaining is that as this snack bar is displaying at the bottom here. Now, the snack bar normally appears for a particular duration. Let's say the snack bar might display itself for like 5 seconds before disappearing. Now, the typical behavior of Flutter is that if the snack bar is displaying and it has not finished displaying up to that 5 seconds, that takes you to
Yes.
another screen. The snack bar immediately decides that particular information that you want to look at, maybe you mistakenly tap on the screen and the screen takes you to that place, you'll not be able to see that information. So that's what an improvement Flutter 2 brought. As this snack bar is displaying on this screen, if you navigate to another screen, that snack bar will still be there displaying itself until that 5 seconds which you told it to display itself will elapse. So once that 5 seconds elapse, it will now close. You understand? So previously, if you navigate on that screen, the snack bar immediately disappears. So that functionality was added by the scaffold messenger. All right. So I think it's pretty cool now.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great. Now, I intentionally left this part for my last point. Yeah, because when Taiwo actually brought the screen on, I mean, when he got to the slide, to this particular slide, my first reaction to it was Mado, like, are you for real? And it is the embedded devices part of the session. I mean, the embedded device part of the functionality of the new Flutter 2, like the Toyota plus Flutter part. I was just thinking, I'm like, so meaning that in like in less than a year or more from now, we will actually have cars, vehicles that use infotainment. Like we will have
Yeah,
vehicles that will work as an information what do I what as an information device and also entertainment,
yeah.
all as a functionality of Flutter 2.
Okay, yeah. I think I would speak briefly on that.
All right.
Actually, we're already seeing infotainment system in vehicles. Like there are some vehicles now that have a kind of screen on the dashboard which you can view some information. Let's say you can view about weather, you can play a video, you can do a number of things. Like you can get a lot of useful information on that screen. So that's just the infotainment system that it's referring to. It's actually a broader concept, but I'm just using that particular one as an example. So where
All
Flutter
right.
comes is that now that particular user interface which you use to interact with the screen, like the various things you see the speed on the screen will be viewed completely from using Flutter or Flutter alone. That's the cool part of it. So apart from vehicles, I can see this coming to several places. I think there was an event sometime back where I can't really remember the company. I think it was Amazon. Amazon was creating a new clock, and they had people all over the world contributing building interfaces for that clock using Flutter. So you can see in that you just take your Flutter code and run it on that clock, on a smart clock for that matter. So you can see that's an example of Flutter running on embedded system. So that's just it.
Oh, that's
Okay,
awesome. Oh,
let me just add this little example as well. For our desktops, we see that for Windows is Microsoft is doing the job for Windows. So the same way now for our infotainment systems, now Flutter will take over that system that will run the whole functionality of the system, what to display, how to display it. So the background engine will have to be Flutter. So
mm,
that's if in the next coming generation is successful, it's been test run, it runs fine, then other companies will start going with it, and then Flutter will take over the next generation vehicles. So that is
oh,
just basically how it's going to run.
wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay. Monica, do you have more to add to that? Ibuka.
No, no, no. I think he said it all. He said it all.
All
So
right.
with Flutter, you can run it everywhere. That's just the idea. Write your code base one and run it on whatever platform you want to run it. That's just the idea.
All right. Wow. That's really mind blowing. Really, really mind blowing.
So
The
sorry,
things.
Nancy,
All right.
just to add to another benefit of Flutter that really
There's
amazes
a lot
me.
to add. It doesn't
You
get to an
know,
end.
yeah, the you having 6 different platforms
Mm,
just using a code base. So imagine the cost of efficiency
yeah.
that is being brought down. So, because
Mm-hmm.
normally before you have a team for your mobile, you have a team for your Android, for your iOS,
Sure.
you have for your desktop, you have for your web. therefore embedded system. So now everything is now brought down to a single code base.
Hmm.
So you can now see the benefit of Flutter, which
Hmm.
we all need to go into it, because in the next generation is going to take over the whole community.
Yeah, and there's even a reduction in the line of code too. The lines of code.
Yes. Let me give you this is this one that happened with Google Pay. So they rewrite the codes in Flutter. So before they had, I think it's 1.5 million lines of code, but now it has been reduced to 1.1 million lines of code,
Wow.
and then the performance rate has increased with 14%.
Hmm. Wow.
So that is awesome.
Yeah, really awesome. Really awesome. Really. This is really mind blowing. I must confess. And personally, I think I will tap a bit into it from now. That is my own personal decision.
You're
So,
welcome. You're welcome to the community.
The community is
wow,
we have a big heart.
oh wow, that's awesome. Thanks for welcoming me. Thanks for welcoming me.
Yeah.
And I hope I will have you all as my mentors.
Oh.
That's
I
okay.
promise. I promise you, I am a good mentee. I am a good mentee. I am calm and obedient.
Anyway, the other issue is that the community is welcoming enough. Whatever document you need, whatever tutorial, it's already available, as I said.
Right. All right. Oh, thank you.
Available. Yeah.
Thanks for
So,
that.
and for many of our viewers too that love to come into the community as well, so it's a perfect opportunity for them to come. You meet one on one. You know our Twitter handle, our community, which is GDG Akoko. Then you can come to the community. Then we'll move from there.
Mm. So you've all heard that. We are welcoming. I mean, our arms are very widespread, and it doesn't close anytime. So you're all welcome, very very welcome into the community. And my other speakers, do you have any other thing to say before we move on to the last part? Taiwo, Ebuka, anything else?
So, what I will say is this: uh, we should stop procrastination, stop procrastinating.
Mm.
Uh, IT is the next phase of the world. So get one today and start at a little speed, just a slow speed. Don't rush yourself. Take it one day at a time. The best important thing is consistency. So you take it every day. If you can decide to just 1 hour or 2 hours per day for this, then you go with that same speed. Don't rush yourself. Don't follow other people's speed the way they do their own stuffs. So go with your own speed. Take it every day. Be consistent with it. Then before you know it, then you see yourself at the top. Thank you. That's from my own end there.
Wow,
All
that's
right.
great. Okay.
All right. Now, adding to that, another tip I know will help you grow a lot as a developer is your network. Now, the kind of as Tayo have said earlier on, that you should kind of associate yourself with a community that does what you do. So if you are into technology, you should try to get yourself engaged in the community, because in the community, it's the fastest way to grow, I must say. There are communities that I've been in, and I can say a lot about the impact those communities have played in my life as a developer. So join communities. If you have questions, you always have a lot of people in the communities you could reach out to and ask your questions. Then apart from that, there's no reason to be shy. As I've said previously, the community is so large and welcoming. So if you have any questions, do reach out to any of these communities and let them help you out. And as Taiwo have said previously, consistency is key. So for you to be good in anything, and Flutter especially, you just have to be consistent. And over time, I tell you, over time, I think after I started working with Flutter, I think in like a week, 2 weeks, I was already building basic applications using Flutter. So the, the speed is just fast. So just be consistent with it, and over time, you'll get the hook of it. So thanks very much. That's from my part.
Wow. So for me, from personal experience, I think what I would say, what I would add to that is, uh, what is actually, what I believe is most important is your passion. And when you actually have a passion for this, because naturally, whatever you have a passion for, you make time for it. You'll be very serious with it. You'll be more fixated on it than any other thing. So I think what you need to work on first is your passion. And as a matter of fact, this session, this event alone in itself is enough to build passion for anyone. It's enough to entice you. So build your passion, and when you're passionate about it, add consistency to it. And also learn, please. Let me mention this. Let me reiterate on this. Let me lay emphasis on it. Learn to ask for help. Do not do it all on your own. I've been in that shoe before. The shoe was not fitting at all. So learn to ask for help. You have people around you. That is why we have these communities. You have people around you that are ready to help at any time. So always ask for help. It will work. It's in fact it will help you. For example, if you are supposed to walk a mile at the time on your own, when you ask for help, you see yourself covering 2 miles at once. So ask for help. Bring in the knowledge of other people with yours, add it together and produce something. So that is that from my end. I will be adding the other backstage speakers now for them to give you their own words of advice before we round up the meeting. Michael, you're welcome. Sheikh Samson, you're welcome. So,
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
good
Good evening,
evening.
Mr. Michael. You're welcome.
And it's really nice to hear this voice again. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, Nancy, I don't have much to say, but sincerely, these guys have knocked on the head like you have done so well. But this little thing I'm going to say is basically the key that you take a step at a time. Understanding what you want to do as a goal, what you want to achieve. You can make it something that because I personally believe that there's nothing you can't achieve. You have a lot effect on the product, on what comes from you. So you have a lot to it's all about you. Okay, so maybe I should talk about this scenario. A couple of months back, I thought of okay, there's this particular thing that I do. I do a lot of things. I've written Flutter, Kotlin, Java, several things,
Mm,
all in mobile anyway. But
mm.
I just thought, wow, and they have been changing architecture from this MVP, NPM, different architecture, and then at the time I was like,
Please, who's going first?
"Kai, will I be able to be having to change from one architecture to another?" And I just felt like wow, giving up. But I just have to think back and look at it. I was so concerned about the time I used to learn this, and a day comes and I felt like this shouldn't be the end of life because I will have to learn new thing. Okay, so at every stage, at every level you are in life, you will definitely have to learn one or two things, and then that is an addition to you. Okay,
Moving
so I can
on, we
always
are going
see.
now,
Say
so we're moving on to the more
what is it?
participative part of it. So we'll be having a fireside chat now, where
Okay. Hello.
please you can continue. I believe that
All
was
right.
a technical error.
Okay. Let me just say this and just stop because I can leave it all for you. Okay. So basically, I'm just saying that keep at what you do. Just like Taiwo said, avoid procrastination, and then by that you get to achieve your goal. And then you need to set it. You have to be practical with your goal. This 2 weeks, this 1 month, this 1 year,
Hello,
I want to
Nancy, can
achieve
you hear me?
and then by that
We can hear you, something.
you should be able to achieve that. So that's all I will love to say. Nancy, Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Okay, because I can't
You're
hear anything from Ali
welcome.
Michael.
You said?
Something we can actually hear you. You can speak.
Samson, can you
Something.
hear us?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Something we can hear you.
I can hear everyone. And good evening, everyone. And thanks for this awesome job you've done, Taiwo and Chukwemeka. Yes, I've learned a lot of things today concerning Flutter. Though I'm a JavaScript person, and right now I'm feeling jealous that Flutter is trying to take our space. But all well and good. All well and good. I believe Flutter is going somewhere, and it's a great framework. And for the fact that it's built on that, and that is actually very close to JavaScript, or let me say TypeScript right now. And yeah, it's a cool framework, and it's a cool library. It's a cool language. Okay, sorry, Chukwebuka. I'm sorry if I
Yes.
didn't get that correctly, Chukwebuka. And I hope to meet you soon. And thanks to everyone that has come up to say one or two things today. And, good work, guys. Thank you very much.
Right. Okay. So thank you very much to our awesome listeners. And a big, big, big thank you to the speakers we've had today. Chukwebuka, thank you very much. Thank you for
You're highly welcome.
honoring our short term call. Thank you
Yeah,
very
glad
much.
to be here. Glad to be here.
Michael, thank you. Samson, Taiwo, and Nancy, thank you.
See, for anchoring it for us.
But
I've
because
not,
I have to call my
I've
own
missed
name
that
too.
face.
That I'm here. I have missed yours too. I hope that
Oh,
soon as we will all have the opportunity to gather again. I mean, I've missed this.
Please, Sugar Bukashi, please.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sugar Bukashi, share his tweets, please. His tweet handle.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
okay,
please,
okay.
please, please,
I'll do that.
please do that. Please do that. So,
Sugar Bukashi, please share his Twitter handle.
Okay,
Can we have a Twitter
it's
handle?
CS
he
Honor.
has.
CS Honor on
Okay.
Twitter.
Yeah, should I request it for it for now?
All right, all right.
So, to our listeners
Okay.
out there from out of the broadcasting room, we have come to the
Yeah, I've
end
seen it.
of the
I've seen
event.
it.
Okay, cool.
We have come to the end of the event, and we will be picking a winner from the. Do you have something to say, Ebuka?
None at the moment. Just conclude.
Okay. All right, all right. So we mentioned earlier that you should engage us on our social media platforms with all the hashtags and the handles. So we'll be checking. We will be checking after the event to see and know the person that has the most engagement. And we will, you know us, you should trust us. We will get to you with your prize. Let me put it that way. So thank you all for staying with us. Thank you all for being with us for this wonderful session. I especially enjoyed it. So thank you all very much. Do we have any parting words for the listeners before we end the broadcast? Anyone? Okay. So we've come to the end of the event. And once again, thank you very much. We'll meet again at the next event. Bye.